Right, so I found this on someone's story on Instagram. It was about something called Miltober, where you would draw something each day based off the prompt that was given for that day, and it would be military related. This was started by a Twitter user called Jaded, who has done this before last year and the year before. So I thought, how about I also try this? It seemed like a good idea, since I've been struggling to come up with ideas for drawing nowadays. So the way I'm going to do this video is I'm going to show you the drawing I did for the day and explain the references and how I did the drawing, and I'm going to rate it out of 10. And maybe there'll be a story with it as well. So the prompt for day 1 was drone, and originally I wanted to draw a character that was a drone, though I think that would have been an android instead, but I drew this one instead. It's a predator drone that is being restocked with missiles, and I referenced this from like a real life image. The story behind this one is that there's a military corporation called the Iron Corps that has a military base set up in an arid country, and this is where this picture takes place, and it looks pretty good, I guess. And I had an idea where, since this one has a background, maybe all the drawings for Miltober should have a background, so it like challenges me to try harder and not just have a blank background like most of the drawings that I did before this. Also, that thing about OC is I don't end up drawing a lot of them during Miltober. Most of them are just nameless soldiers. I'd give this one an 8 out of 10. This is only me at like 50% power. Day 2's prompt was security. The place where this drawing takes place is the same place that the first drawing of day 1 took place in. They're at Iron Corps' military base entrance, going through a security checkpoint. Now in this one I do have an OC in this, there to the left. His name's Tommy, and though the character you're taking POV of is named Emma, Tommy's sister. The soldiers outside the car are just nameless. The reference for this one I kinda just made up in a modeling program, and the reference for the car's interior is just like any random image of a car's interior I found online, and I like mixed them together. And I used references for things outside the car as well. I really like the detail inside the car, but as you go outside the car, details become less and less, making this an 8 out of 10. And this drawing took about 3 hours, which is the usual amount of time I take to draw something. Day 3's prompt was machine gun, and again this is taking place in the same military base as before, the Iron Corps' military base. Now these are soldiers at the firing range using SS-77 machine guns. The angle on the first machine gun was kinda challenging to get right, but it ended up very good looking. Though I did also make this reference in the 3D program. I'm also not sure if these machine guns would have a box magazine like it does there. I just drew it in because it looked good. It looks like the box magazine could slide underneath the gun because there's a space right there. It would definitely take up less space. The background is very simple since most of it is sky, but still makes it look like there's a world out there, I guess. Again, these guys are just nameless soldiers. There aren't any OCs in this one. This one would be another 8 out of 10. The machine guns are done very well. Day 4's one was Scout. At first it was kind of difficult for me to come up with the idea, but I came up with this one where Iron Corps soldiers were scouting a military base, an enemy military base, out in the mountains. Though this one kind of looks weird, of like the distance between the soldiers on the mountain and the military base that's there. The distance doesn't look real. It looks kind of wonky. It's very hard to tell. The mountains in the back are kind of difficult to draw because of how far away they are, and it looks kind of bad. Also, the reference for this one was just some Ravenfield PNG I found that matched my idea in my head. I'd give this one a 7 out of 10 just because of how wonky the distance looks and the details on the mountains in the back. Day 5's prompt was Insurgent. The story behind this one is there's an insurgency that's called the Ton. Kind of funny. And they rebel against the Iron Corps that's invading their country. And there's this one insurgent that goes by the name of Blood. I'm not sure what that word means. I'm pretty sure it's buddy, but short, like bud, but with an L, making blood. So that's his name. And halfway through the drawing that I was drawing, I remembered that there was an armored vehicle called the Insurgent. I mostly knew it from the game Grand Theft Auto 5. So I had the idea of drawing the Insurgent, the guy, blood, next to the Insurgent, the armored vehicle. Basically doing Insurgent twice. Now for the reference, I made it again in the 3D program and referencing from the Grand Theft Auto one. It looks really good. The line work's very good. The shading kind of ruins it. Like, I really gotta figure out how to do this better, because I can't shade drawings like these and just make them bad. It went from an 8 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10 because of the shading. Also, you got Insurgent twice. Day 6's prompt was Hussar. Now, I was really confused on the meaning of Hussar, because depending on how you would search it, it would either mean a guy on a horse with a sword with very snazzy uniform on, or it would be an armoured regiment in the British military, which would be the King's Royal Hussars, which is the one I went with, because I didn't want to draw a horse. Now, the King's Royal Hussars drive tanks called the Challenger 2, which is what you see here. I again made it in the 3D program, the thing that I referenced. I like how I'm able to draw short, straight lines instead of having to use a ruler for all that. Like, it really saves time. The detail on the tank is where the good part of this drawing is, and the perspective of the tank barrel aiming towards you. I don't know how easy it is for you to tell that they're in a field. The grass is really weirdly done. I kind of know how to draw grass, but like, drawing each and every blade of grass is not a good idea. And I'd give this one an 8 out of 10. The grass really brings it down from a 9. Day 7's prompt was Marine. And these Marines are based off a country in Africa. It's based off its Marine Corps. As you can see, they have their R6s with ACOG sights. There's not much story behind this one. They're just Marines in a forest doing operations. I referenced this from a real life picture. Not too thrilled with this one. I would give it a 7 out of 10. The forest in the back looks kind of weird, but like, it's because I didn't know how to do it properly. Day 8's prompt was Shield. Now for this one I drew a riot squad with 3 shield guys running up on some dudes that are firing at them. They're just a riot squad, they don't have names, again like the generic nameless soldier. The reference for this one I again made in the 3D modeling program, and I don't know if you've noticed that I used the shield from Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The expressions on their faces really make it look very cartoony, and I like that about it. Very expressive. There's no background in this one, which I didn't do on purpose because I wanted the attention to be on the shield guys, making this an 8 out of 10. A background could have made it better, I guess, though I don't know what I would have put there. Day 9's prompt was Reporter. Now the story behind this one is, there's these 2 reporters that are on the battlefield trying to record footage for the news, when all of a sudden bombs start falling out of the sky, and these guys are running for it. Though the one in the back is the cameraman, and I guess he could be the most powerful individual in the entire story. I mean, I've seen the cameraman do a lot of crazy stuff. The reference for this one I did make up in 3D program again, and I like the way I drew it because it also leads your eye to the explosion, I guess. The background though is very simple, but it looks like there's something there at least, which would make this one an 8 out of 10. Day 10's prompt was Survivor. Now, I first had a lot of ideas and angles I could have gone with for this one, but I went with the first one, which was a high angle, looking down at all the bodies. I did make the reference in the 3D program, and the drawing I guess turned out good, but I could have gone with a better idea if I didn't go with the first one I thought of. The story behind this one is that either an explosion happened or artillery wiped out this guy's entire squad, and he was the only survivor with shrapnel in his helmet and he was bleeding. He's again an Iron Corps soldier, so he's also nameless. I'd give this one a 7 out of 10. I could have experimented more with the angles I could have drawn this from.